This ball is crushed. Man, what a shot. Our step back three on the way. Oh, it banks in.
Welcome in. It is the Brothers and Ball podcast. We are absolutely loaded with topics today. I'm Christopher Douglas. That's Michael Douglas. We had a huge week with the draft. We have Aaron Rodgers dropping a bomb on us saying that he wants out of Green Bay. We're going to bring in Kalen Clark for some socially acceptable in about 30 minutes or so. And we're going to rock out how we normally do here on the Brothers and Ball podcast. But Mike, how are you feeling tonight, my man?
Feeling strong. Big time draft here. A lot to dive into. So I'm ready to get into it. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have to address what really was the first pick of the draft because we knew where Jacksonville and New York were going with picks 1 and 2. The first mystery of the draft, Kyle Shanahan successfully executed a smoke screen with Mack Jones. He did not select Mack Jones. He went with Trey Lance, who I know you said that you wanted him to go with Trey Lance, and he was the higher upside prospect. Now it's funny because a lot of people expect them to stick with Jimmy G on the roster for the year. We'll see how that goes. But what I want to ask you here about the 49ers move is, did they get this right? Because now it's going to be Trey Lance for the future here for Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, they got it right. This, I think last week in our mocks we had Mack Jones, but I think that's just, from all the noise we were hearing, we thought, we were going with what we heard.
There's a smoke screen.
That's right, and listening to to the guys that know a little more than us. But looking here at Trey Lance, I mean, he's the higher upside guy. You don't have to play him right away. He's got all the tools to be elite. I think he's in the right system, and he's gonna thrive. I think, and he's not going to have to play right away. They can hold on to Jimmy G and let him, let him groom. I don't know that I'm shocked by the pick. I think they knew what they were doing moving up to 3. I think Lance was the guy that they identified all along. And they just, were throwing the Mack Jones stuff out there just to, keep everyone on their toes. But the draft definitely started at pick 3. And I'm not really too surprised they got Trey Lance.
Yeah. I'm not surprised either. I really, really believed the Mack Jones stuff, but I knew it was always a possibility that you go with the guy that may take a little bit longer to develop, needs more time to sit, but could eventually be the higher prospect as far as his ceiling. So not shocked to see it. Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to do a lot of things he hasn't done in the past with other quarterbacks. Jimmy G, Matt Ryan, all these guys that he's used in the past. This is going to be a completely different animal for him, and I'm sure he's elated. I mean, you heard him talk about Trey Lance, and he's really, really into it. So I'm happy he moved up and got his guy.
So there's a couple of keys here. They can't rush him. You have Garoppolo. You're going to be able to win some games still with Garoppolo. Don't rush him in there. You can use the Patrick Mahomes treatment and sit him. Not saying that this guy's Patrick Mahomes, just saying you can, use him the same way as far as sitting him and letting him watch behind Garoppolo, until it's time. So I have no doubt that the Niners get it right. They ran everything right so far since, Lynch and Shannon have been there. So I'm all in on the pick. I think it's going to work out big time.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree. The Niners are back in that Super Bowl bubble. They're going to be one of the 10 or 12 teams that you can expect to possibly make it there and be in that conversation all year long.
Big
so
time.
Just to shift gears here really quick, we have to address from a team standpoint because there's a lot to go into with this entire draft. I love the draft 3-day event. It's a really, really fun thing to follow. And we have to address who had the best draft, which team did the best for themselves. So floor is yours. Who had the best draft?
All right. Well, I'm gonna stay at home here with the Jets. Obviously, they had the second pick. They were all in on Zach Wilson. I think that's the key to the whole draft. If they think that's their guy, I'm all in on it. I was a little shocked that they moved up to 14. I didn't know who they draft. But when they draft Vera Tucker, I was extremely excited. And then for Elijah Moore to fall to the second day of the draft and you steal him, who I think every single mock draft had him in the first round. I saw a stat that said this is the first time since 2008 that a team had 3 players that they drafted over 90 on the Scout Inc.'s score. So those 3 guys all ranked over 90, and the last team to do it was the 2008 Dolphins. So I think Joe Douglas is on to something here. Obviously, everything hinges to the quarterback, but we'll see. I mean, Wilson said all the right things. You know, he's doing all the right things so far. I know it's only been a week, but we'll see what happens. I like what the Jets did. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Big energy from Wilson when he got drafted. He was dapping
Big
up the
time.
Jets fans on the way up
Big
there.
time.
And I'm happy that these kids get to have that moment. It's really fun to watch. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, the Jets had a good draft. We're going to get into our draft grades before we end the show as well. But I'm going a different direction. We're used to these teams, honestly, not doing themselves very good in the draft. The Jets, and now my choice, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns nailed it this year. And I want to say, Greg Newsome was a guy that the Jets were thinking about at 23, and a lot of teams are looking at him as a top corner now. You got Denzel Ward, you have Greedy Williams coming back off injury, and you add this guy as a third corner. They're going to be a lot better in the back end of their defense. And then the second round pick is my favorite of them all. Jeremiah Awusu Coramoa, he dropped big time, and apparently there was some medical. Yeah, apparently there were some medical concerns with his physical, but he's good to go. He's a great pick for them. Very rangy coverage linebacker. It's something that they really were lacking. They have an insane pass rush now with an improved secondary, and just between those first 2 picks, I think they did the best for themselves in the draft because this is a team that was on the precipice of the AFC Championship game. You had the Chiefs where you wanted them, and if they had a little bit better defense, I think they'd have been in the AFC Championship game. So they did everything that they needed to do to get better. Very happy with what the Browns did, and they should be happy with themselves.
Yeah, so the Browns, if you look at their roster from top to bottom, they are loaded, completely loaded. It all hinges on the quarterback, though, Baker Mayfield, who I'm not a fan of, but we'll see. The roster's loaded. They can win if Baker takes that next step. Watch out. Outside of the Chiefs, Cleveland is right there. They're right there, and I'm including Buffalo. I'm including whoever you want to, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, whoever you want to put in there. Cleveland is right there at that level, right below the Chiefs. They're next, in my opinion.
Yeah. They were extremely self-aware going defense with those first 2 picks. They understood the assignment and they got it done. But moving forward, we also want to touch on some individuals that were kind of head scratchers or a little bit surprising. Made you open your eyes a bit like, wow, he just got taken. So I want to ask you, who was the most surprising pick in your mind in the first round?
The most surprising pick was 17 to the Vegas Raiders, Alex Leatherwood from Alabama. I saw there was a 65% chance that he would be left in the 40s for the Raiders to take him, and they took him at 17. So I think it was a big-time reach. There was a stretch of linemen that went on day 2, so I don't know if he would have made it into the 40s, but 17 was just a bit of a reach to me. But John Gruden has drafted well, him and Mayock, since he's been there. So you never know. They might know something we don't. I thought it was a bit of a reach, in my opinion.
Yeah. A lot of people were questioning that one for sure. And just the moves that Gruden made this offseason, like you got rid of Rodney Hudson, you got rid of Trent Brown, and then to possibly reach like this in the first round, I just think it's kind of like a lateral move. Did you even get better than your offensive line was last year? Probably not.
Correct.
So definitely a head scratcher. You don't know what they're up to in Vegas. Mine was not a surprising pick because I thought it was a bad pick. I think this guy's going to be a really good player. It just shocked me that he went so high. J.C. Horn. Did not expect him to get picked before Patrick Surtain. And this is the Carolina Panthers who picked 8, and then Surtain was picked right after him. I knew that the corners were going to fly off sooner than we thought. There's 4 or 5 very good corners in this draft. I did not expect him to be top 10. I did not expect him to be the first corner. If he was going to be in the top 10, I thought it would be Dallas, but he slid up a few picks. Carolina probably was going to go Sewell before Detroit took him, so they probably pivoted and went with the next best on their board, which Horn's going to be a terrific player. I just didn't expect his name to be called right there. I didn't know Carolina was going that direction.
Yeah, I was a little shocked. You just got your quarterback in Darnold. You picked up his option. I thought maybe you would do something on the offensive side of the ball. But I think it would have been a reach to go Slater. So at that point, I guess you take the best on your board, like you said, and Horn was probably that guy for them. So, I mean, good for them. I don't hate the pick. I think Horn's gonna be a really good player.
Yeah, definitely. He's got the bloodlines, just like Surtain and some other guys that we saw. Their fathers were in the NFL and things like that. So, what I want to pivot to, not really draft news, but this is something that has set the world on fire a bit. Aaron Rodgers, just before the draft, made it known that he no longer wants to be a Green Bay Packer. And he took the route that a lot of these quarterbacks are taking now, Deshaun Watson included, that they're just not going to play for their team unless some changes are made. The main part of his gripe is that Brian Gutekunst has been inept in getting him some help. And what we saw today was that he was joking around with Packers teammates in a group chat, making fun of the GM, saying that he's like Jerry Krause, to Michael Jordan. And, the list goes on and on. He cut a player that Rodgers really liked. And this stems back to even Jordy Nelson, when Jordy Nelson lost his position with the Packers and they let him go. So he's pissed. He doesn't want to play for the Packers. What do you make of this? Do you think how do you think this ends up in the end, and what do you make of it right now?
All right. So first things first.
Yeah.
I don't agree with how Rodgers is handling it. You can want out, that's fine. I'm all for it. But to try and get your GM fired, that's not the way to go about it. With that being said, I am completely on Aaron Rodgers' side as far as what this franchise has done to help him. I can go back just last year, right? They pick a quarterback who doesn't even suit up a single game for them. He wasn't even the backup quarterback for 16 games last year, right? Tim Boyle was the backup. So that was your first round pick. You could have had a weapon to help him, and a lineman, something that would help him. And then this year you take the corner. Maybe it's a need. I mean, we just talked about Elijah Moore getting stolen by the Jets in the second round. You could have had another weapon for him. I just don't. The Packers haven't done enough. A talent like this he's only made it to one Super Bowl. He obviously won it. They should have multiple Super Bowl appearances, if not multiple Super Bowl titles with this guy. And other franchises would kill to have Favre for 15 years, and then hopefully Rodgers for 15. And I feel like they've botched both Green Bay. So I don't know. I'm on Rodgers' side as far as what are you doing to help me? I'm one of the best quarterbacks to ever play, and they're he's doing all this in spite of what they're doing. So I don't blame him for wanting out. There was a couple teams linked to him. Denver. I mean, they could turn around pretty quickly with him. That's in Mahomes' division. I don't know. I saw Vegas. I don't know. I don't think they trade anyone in the NFC. I don't think they want to see Rodgers at all.
No way.
Come back
Why
and
would
torment.
you?
Yeah, they don't want that to happen in the playoffs. Maybe him come back and torment. So I think he goes somewhere to the AFC. Where, I don't know. I think I saw a mock trade to the Dolphins, but that trade included Tua. So I just don't understand what Green Bay's doing. You're going to trade Rodgers. Does that mean you're going to start Love? Do you want a quarterback in return? So Love sits again. I don't know what it would mean for the Packers. I don't know where their heads are at.
Yeah.
But as far as Rodgers wanting out, I'm all in on it.
Okay, so I'm also going to do a little devil's advocate thing here because I do support what Aaron Rodgers is trying to do. I get the motive. The way that the playoffs went for them and the way they got eliminated, it wouldn't sit well with me at all. And I think he's older than the coach.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got seniority there. It's his show. You need to cater to him. And it hasn't been that way. So on draft day, he just sends a little reminder like, hey, you know what? I kind of want out. So don't forget about me. Make sure you draft me somebody. I think he ends up playing in Green Bay next year. And that's because this is just a power play. He's flexing his muscles a little bit. I'm Aaron Rodgers. You're going to do what I say here. And the devil's advocate thing I want to point out here is that he's done this to Mike McCarthy and gotten him fired. Now he's doing it to the GM and trying to get him fired. When's it going to stop?
Right.
When is it going to be? Yeah. When are you going to cut ties and say, you know what? This guy's more trouble than he is good. Yeah, he's the MVP. Yeah, he's amazing. But he's the most condescending guy we've had in the entire organization. And we're getting rid of good people because of him. To say Brian Gutekunst is good at his job is probably an overstatement. But it's getting unbearable with him. The fact that he continues to do this and continues to try and put himself, in a position of power. We also seen it with Russell Wilson trying to do his thing. So this is all a domino effect. 12 did from moving from New England, a coach he didn't like, down to Tampa Bay, to a situation where he can kind of pull some strings and make something happen. It's interesting to see the way that Rodgers is going about this.
Real quick note, you just mentioned Brady going to Tampa. He was a free agent, so it was Brady's choice.
Right,
so
but
so that's a little different.
Of course. They had a long-standing, disagreement over the Jimmy G thing, and Rodgers basically saying it's me or Jordan Love, or you can get rid of the GM and maybe I'll stick around for that. It's with Brady, it was the same thing. The owner had to step in and say, listen, we're not getting rid of Tom Brady. Don't get crazy here. And I'm wondering if that situation is going to come about here in Green Bay. Like, I just wonder when it's all going to come to a head, because Rodgers can request a trade all he wants. These guys are in front of the microphone saying he's not going anywhere. He's my quarterback.
Yeah. I will say I don't think Rodgers will sit, but I do think he'll become unbearable, and I think they will end up making a move. Because at the end of the day, you didn't draft that guy Jordan Love in the first round to sit. So I think Green Bay wants him to play, and maybe they go a different direction. So we'll see what happens.
You also said it, just to wrap this up, you also said it a few weeks ago here on the show. If the Green Bay Packers wanted to trade Jordan Love, are you getting a first-round pick for him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's not even suiting up as your backup, like you also mentioned here. So
correct.
It's
didn't
ugly.
Put on a
Green
Packers
Bay,
uniform once last year.
It makes you really question, like, would the Packers even entertain getting rid of Rodgers and then going with this guy?
Correct. Is Love even the guy?
Yeah. To me, Raiders make the most sense. Get Carr in there, give Love some more time to turn into whatever he's going to be. But we're going to cover Rodgers, I'm sure, many, many more episodes here on the Brothers Involved podcast. But keep it locked. On the other side of the break, we have Justified, Just Foolish with some of our NFL draft predictions and NFL headlines. So keep it locked. Welcome back in. It is the Brothers and Ball podcast. We are bringing you our annual segment. Each week, we got Justified or we got Just Foolish. And we're going to do some NFL draft headlines here as far as the predictions go with some of the rookies. So a great pick by the Chicago Bears, in my opinion, was Justin Fields. Trade up and get Justin Fields. So the prediction is Justin Fields will be the starter for the Bears by week 4. Justified or just foolish?
He'll be the starter by week 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that means week 4 or before.
Yes.
So then the statement is justified. I think Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are on the clock. You move up. You gave up a haul to the Giants to go up and get this guy. You're not going to sit here and watch Andy Dalton play. It's not happening. So to me, Justin Fields is going to be in there. I think Matt Nagy's offense is tailor-made for a player like this. Fields played at Ohio State, up in that area. So he's going to be fine with weather, all that kind of stuff. So I think Justin Fields is a perfect fit for them, and I think he's going to end up saving Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace's job, to be honest with you.
Well, you nailed it. I can't agree with you more. He's going to start, and it's going to be rather quick. You're going to see him and Andy Dalton on the same practice field and say, oh, yeah, all right, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. So he's going to have success as well because Trubisky even put up good numbers, and we know what we think of Trubisky. He's not good.
Yeah.
So Fields is going to have early success, and he will be on the field possibly as the week 1 starter. I wouldn't be shocked.
So real quick, Trubisky, they moved up to get Trubisky, right, from 3 to 2 that draft, and they passed on Watson, Mahomes, and I think there was another quarterback who's a starter in the NFL right now that I can't think of.
If Fields hits, you undo all of that, even though it's
correct.
Watson and Mahomes. But if Fields is good and you can win with Fields, then you're in there.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Nagy's been there 3 years. He's made the playoffs twice with Trubisky as the quarterback, so he knows what he's doing, even with an average quarterback. And I think Fields is better than that. But let's
100%.
pivot to another quarterback who fell. I mean, you and I had him in the mock going 3, Mack Jones. He falls all the way to New England. They don't have to make any deals to get the quarterback that I think they wanted the entire time. Yeah. So here we go. Mack Jones will start week 1 for the New England Patriots. Justified or just foolish?
This is a tough one. I'm going to say just foolish. Cam's been around the league too long. Cam is going to have his second year in this system, and I think Cam looks a lot better in this system next season.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Mack Jones is probably one of the quarterbacks that can come in and start. He's got the ability, and I just don't think that's the route that Belichick goes. I think Belichick is here to win as many games as possible. That means you let Cam throw the ball 20 to 25 times at most, and you pound the rock, and you play defense. So Belichick's in it for the wins, and Mack Jones, he doesn't want to take these rookie lumps. He wants him to sit back and learn. Just foolish.
I'm going to disagree hard. I think Mack Jones starts week 1, and I think outside of Trevor Lawrence, I think he's the most ready to play right now. He may not be the best long term, but I think as far as ready to play right now, it's Mack Jones. They just loaded up on the weapons. Above average offensive line. They got 2 tight ends. They added receivers. I mean, they overpaid for a bunch of guys to get some weapons in here. We'll see. I think Mack Jones starts game 1, and I think he's an average quarterback. I think he's, probably a top, when it's all said and done, he'll be a top 15 quarterback, in the league while he's playing.
Kirk Cousins-ish.
Okay. That's fair.
All right. I mean, I just think he's going to roll with Cam just because of the knowledge of the playbook and things like that. And someone brought this up just before we move on to the next one. When you look at Mack Jones and you look at Cam Newton side by side, who's more, who looks the part, who can take over the locker room and command the locker room? I don't know how some of those guys can look at Mack Jones and say, why is he on the field instead of Cam Newton? I think Belichick gets that. He can read the room. But let's move forward here. The prediction for Justified or Just Foolish is Jamar Chase, rookie for the Bengals, number 5 overall pick, will eclipse over 1,000 yards in his first year with Joe Burrow. Justified or Just Foolish?
Oof, this is a tough one. So initially, I was thinking, yes, 1,000 yards. He's reunited with Burrow. I'm thinking, boom, this is a can't miss. But then I'm thinking, they have Mixon, right? They have Boyd. They drafted T. Higgins. So I sat back and I said, he's going to have a lot of yards. I don't think he hits 1,000. I'm going to go Just Foolish based off just the amount of weapons that the Bengals have. You know, obviously the key now is going to be protecting Burrow so he can utilize those weapons. But I'm going to go Just Foolish. Jamar Chase does not get to 1,000 yards. I think the better bet is for him to catch 10 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Justified. I think he does get 1,000 yards. I think he has immediate impact. This is one of my favorite players in the draft. I'm happy that he's going to be back with a good quarterback. I didn't want to see him in Detroit or with Tua. No disrespect to Tua.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he's going to go back to a good quarterback and be able to perform because I think he's going to be extremely fun to watch. I have him over 1,000 yards, possibly Rookie of the Year in the AFC.
Yeah, I can see it. The Bengals have something going there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I don't know if they have the coach right, but they got something going.
Yeah.
All right, so we've done offensive side of the ball. We're going to finish up here with the defensive side of the ball. So the best player from the draft on the defensive side of the ball will be Patrick Surtain Jr. Justified, Just Foolish.
This is a tough one because I had him as the top-rated corner. I'm going to say Just Foolish. And the reason why is because I think there's some other people that can make more of an impact sooner and end up being having a better career. So my choice would be Micah Parsons, or a sleeper is going to be Zaven Collins with Arizona. They are both going to be really, really good linebackers in this league for a long time. But to just go back to Surtain, he's going to be good. I'm not taking it away from him. I'm not saying that he's going to be a bust or anything like that. You know, in Denver, they're known for good corners. Champ Bailey back in the day, you know, they have the reputation there. So he's going to be good. He won't be the best of the class. I'm going to say Just Foolish.
That's a tough one for me. I don't know about Micah Parsons. I don't like the situation, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Vander Esch and Jalen Smith are healthy, Dallas, yeah, exactly. Dallas runs a lot of two linebacker stuff, so we'll see. I'm a little interested to see where he fits in. I mean, Vander Esch is always hurt, so we'll see. Horn, I like a lot. It's tough as well. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say it's Justified. He will be the best. He will be the best player in this draft. Like you said, he went to a system with a defensive coach, and a team that has a history of just throwing corners, just pulling them out of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris Harris, Aqib Talib. Now you got Surtain. Champ Bailey way back when.
Yep.
So I like Surtain a lot, and that's another smokescreen. No one was talking about Denver taking a quarterback, and they were locked in on Surtain. They knew that that's who they wanted from day one, and good job by them because I think he got picked where he was supposed to.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there was a lot of that. I feel like people were locked in on a certain guy, and they ended up getting their guy. Philly with Devontae Smith. I feel like they wanted him the entire time and wanted to make sure he wasn't a giant. But there's a lot of good headlines. It'd be great to see these rookies get started and get used to the NFL. So before we hit this break, after the break, we're going to be talking with Kalen Clark, Socially Acceptable, and we're going to run down some headlines with him, what's going on social media. Then we'll wrap it up with some quick draw regarding draft grades for a few teams that either did really good or really bad. So Keep it locked. This is the Brothers in Ball podcast.
All right, welcome back. This is the Brothers in Ball podcast. We are joined by our guru of social media, Mr. Kalen Clark. Talk to us,
What's
man.
up?
How you feeling, big dog?
Pretty good. Other than the, my staple situations that you guys know about.
Come on, man. Come on, man. We don't want to tell the people what happened. We're not gonna go there right now. We're not gonna go there.
Fair enough.
But we do want to start with Terry Bradshaw. He had some interesting things to say about Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to read a couple of quotes that I have up. Clark, we'll get your reaction. So here we go. Quote, with him being that upset shows me how weak he is. Who the hell cares who you draft? I mean, he's a 3-time MVP in the league, and he's worried about this guy they drafted last year at number 1? Question mark. He then added, and for him to be upset, my God, I don't understand that. Pittsburgh drafted Mark Malone number 1, Cliff Stout in 3rd and 4th round, these old timers. I had them coming at me from all angles. I embraced it because when we went to practice, I wasn't worried about those guys. They didn't scare me a bit. So I don't understand why he's so upset in Green Bay. And then if they fire the general manager, he'll come back. Are you kidding me? Question mark. Really, Aaron? That's where it is. So clearly Bradshaw is not a fan of what Rodgers is doing. Clark, break it down for me. This is a lot here.
All right. He completely is missing the point of why Aaron Rodgers is upset. He thinks Aaron Rodgers is worried about Jordan Love. Like, Aaron Rodgers had more talent in his pinky than Jordan Love has in his entire career so far. Like, let's relax. That's completely missing the situation. Situation is that for the last 10 years, since probably the last time Packers have won a Super Bowl, they've just been wasting Aaron Rodgers' talent by not drafting offensively. I understand you have to build defense also. Defenses win games in the playoffs, but if you have nothing on offense, it's you can't score. You score to win. Like, you win to score. Don't score, you don't win. But Devontae Adams can't carry it all on himself. It's 12 against 1. He's going to lose that. He's going to lose that match every time. So you need another weapon out there for him. Running the league is not a running league as it once was, so you're not going to pound Jones like that anymore. So you definitely need another receiver to line up with Devontae to take some of the pressure off of there, and so you can get the offense rolling. But to say that Aaron doesn't have the right to be upset, 10 years of just mediocrity, that I would be pissed about that too.
Yeah. I mean, what have you done in 10 years of Rodgers? The answer is nothing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Terry Bradshaw, he's way out of left field with this one. A lot of the stuff he says is just crazy anyway. Like, I get playing football, and especially playing football back when he played it. It's a very rough game, and it could take a toll. But come on, man. You're sounding completely foolish on this one. It is not socially acceptable for him to go out and say this. It is
Absolutely
typical old-timer take, not shocked in the slightest. Bradshaw will come out with some wild stuff. If you watch some of his TV appearances, man, he's a little bit out there.
Yeah, he's an oddball for sure. He's definitely the one fry short of a Happy Meal. Real quick, he also went on to say, here's what I do. I wouldn't budge. Let him gripe. Let him cry. Retire. You're 38. Go ahead and retire. See you later. I mean, I'm really strong about stuff like that, and it just makes him look weak. He's out of control.
And then you go 4-13 with Jordan Love throwing 25 picks. Get the hell out of here, Terry.
Yeah, he's way off. He's way off the mark here. I think we're all in agreement.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can disagree about how Rodgers is handling it, but as far as this socially acceptable, Bradshaw, he's
that's bad.
I don't know what he's doing.
That's bad. But all right, Kalen, I wanna shift gears with you here. There's something that made the news, and of course, how could it miss the news? Tim Tebow had a private workout for the Jacksonville Jaguars, his former coach Urban Meyer, and it was kept on the down low. It came out during the draft weekend here. So I want to get right to the question. Is it socially acceptable for Tim Tebow to possibly be back in the NFL at tight end. He tried out as a tight end for Urban Meyer. Is this socially acceptable?
Listen, I mean, get it however you can. If you want to get back in there, that's the only way I see it. Because you didn't cut it as a quarterback. So, listen, I'm not saying as a GM, I would pick him up. I'm just saying I'm not mad at him for trying out. Like,
Yeah.
shoot your shot, young man. But I mean, he's 30. Well, not young, but he's 33.
Mhm.
I wouldn't pick him up at this point. He hasn't shown that he couldn't be a tight end. I definitely, as a quarterback, I would not be comfortable with him. Protecting me, even though tight ends don't really block that much, usually catching. But I haven't seen him catch anything either. So I don't know. As a GM, I wouldn't do it. But as a person, reaching to be in something, shoot your shot.
Yeah.
All right, my turn.
Go ahead, Mike.
I don't like this one bit. Okay, because what's it been? 10 years since he's been in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 years ago when he was in the league, everyone in the NFL said, "You want to stay in this league? You got to be a fullback or a tight end." Why couldn't he do it then? Why couldn't he do it then? This is a perfect example of the good old boys club. Okay, you play for Urban Meyer. This is Urban Meyer calling out his boys, saying, "Hey, come on back. You're a great guy. Come play for me. I love you. You love me. Come play." No, I hate it. There's no way he can play tight end in the NFL. And you know what? I watched Skip and Shannon this morning, and they had a quick little debate about who would be a better blocking tight end, Shannon Sharp or Tim Tebow? And Skip had the nerve to sit there and say Tim Tebow will be a better blocker. Okay? A complete joke. Complete joke. Tebow should not be in the NFL. If he wanted to be a tight end, he should have tried it 10 years ago when every team in the NFL said, "Hey, you could probably play tight end." Not now at 33 after you're a failed baseball player. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it'll be a successful run. But again, if you're grasping at straws, go ahead. G-
Unreal.
GMs,
I'm gonna be
I would not do it.
yeah.
Unreal.
I'm gonna be quick with it. I'm right with Kalen. If you're a GM, definitely I would advise to tread carefully. He's probably not in football shape anymore. He probably could never block. He's a big dude, but he's always played quarterback. He's always been a runner with the football. Don't expect him to be catching anything like Kalen said. Now, Tim Tebow's perspective, though, I gotta stay on brand. When Tim Tebow was in the NFL, that was my guy. He could play. He could play a little bit. So if there is some juice left in the tank, and that's how you feel about yourself, why not slide in there into Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, where you have the connection already? Because
Oh my
no one
God.
else is going to pick him up at this point. It
This
is
is
his only chance.
unbelievable. This
So
is unbelievable.
you're both right. You're both right, Mike. You're saying good old boys. Oh, I got a connection with Urban.
That's right.
Yeah,
Taking care of his
why not
boys.
use it?
Taking care of his boy.
So, Saturday NFL game day countdown or no college football countdown isn't enough for him. He wants
SEC
more.
Network.
Like he wants more. Let him
Good.
go out there and do his thing.
Good. Go be the third tight end and get wrecked on special teams. Okay.
Yeah, well, Skip was way out of bounds talking about he was
Out
on
of
the precipice
bounds.
of being called up for the Mets. No, he wasn't. He couldn't field. He couldn't hit. And he's just a strong guy that puts minor league fans in the stadium. That's it. You see Tim Tebow. Oh, I'm going to go up and show up and see Tim Tebow.
It was
it's a
hard to
joke.
watch.
It was very hard to watch. But let's change the tone here. Let's switch it over, okay? Our guy, we're all going to be in agreement on this one, but it has to be done. Our guy, Carmelo Anthony, cracks the top 10 on the NFL scoring or NBA scoring list, rather. He is now in 10th, slated to pass a couple more people for sure before he retires, but just another great achievement for a lifelong bucket getter. And it's just time to give this man his respect. There's been some people that came out and said, Stephen A. Smith most notably, it's time to give this man his flowers. He's still in the league. He's just year 18, just like LeBron. So, Kalen, is it socially acceptable for Stephen A. to take such a stance and stand by our guy Melo?
Give it to me.
Definitely. It's been way too long, way too much disrespect for my boy Melo. He done put in too much work and come back from hella adversity to be still being disrespected. It's like climbing the charts, top 10 scoring of all time in NBA. What more do you want from him other than a ring? But At this point, the cards have to line up for that. That's out of his hand. So at this point, piling on the disrespect to Melo and recognize him as one of the all-time greats in the NBA.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you very much. The Carmelo Anthony slander, I am completely finished with it. Completely finished. If there's anybody watching that wants to come on here and talk about Carmelo Anthony, come on, because I will
We got a
defend this
seat
guy
for you.
till the end. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
we have a seat. This guy, okay, he did his thing with the Knicks, right? It didn't end how we wanted it, right? Then they send him to Oklahoma City, and he has to play with that mole of a point guard in Russell Westbrook, right? Okay. Then they ship everybody out. He goes to Houston. Then he has to play with James Harden. Okay, another guy. Okay. And now he's 10th. He's going to pass Moses Malone. He'd be close this year, probably, though. And he might catch Shaquille O'Neal at 8. So he's going to be 8th all time in scoring when it's all said and done. Are you kidding me? The Carmelo Anthony slander is done. We're done with the slander on Carmelo Anthony.
That's right. I can't say much more than you guys already did, but the fact that we tried to blackball the man out of the league and say that he was washed because he couldn't fit in with Pandemic P and Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City, it's just a joke at this point. You see him alongside some of these guys and he fits seamlessly. It's a perfect bench scorer that you need at this point. Any role that you've given Melo, he's gotten an A+ and he's killed the role.
He's excelled at anything.
So, it's over. You can't tell me anything about Carmelo anymore. Not going to listen to you. You're wrong. So he's
wrong.
solidified. Talking about, is he a Hall of Famer or not? Maybe 7 years ago we could debate that, but he's been a Hall of Famer for a while now. Now it's first ballot without any doubt.
Yeah, it's not even a question.
I don't know.
let him sneak a title in there. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's a wrap if he gets a title.
Exactly. But Kalen, I want to ask you here before we wrap things up, man, for socially acceptable. Your Giants. We're going to talk about it after the break here with Quick Draw, but what do you think from the Giants? Sounds like you're pumped over there.
I mean, I'm a little bummed that the Eagles got away and snuck Smith away from us, but I'm glad we was able to still get a weapon in Tony, and then of course Aziz, the big fella. If he turns out the potential, if the potential turns out to what the pros are saying, if it translates into the NFL, Giants will be on a good route to success pending Daniel Jones. Again, that's the key. This guy, Daniel Jones, this is his make or break season with all the weapons around him, especially with Shepard, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph that we just signed, Slayton, and Saquon Barkley. There's no reason why he shouldn't succeed this year, pending any injuries or anything. So this is make or break for Jones and a great draft by the Giants. I feel like.
As far as your Giants are concerned, I can't stand them. But boy, oh boy, the fact that you identified that you wanted a weapon, you moved back, you got Tony, you got a haul for pick 11, then Aguilar falls in your lap in the second round. Good God.
Yeah, that's good stuff from the Giants. And Gettleman might have saved his job with this draft in this offseason. He's doing a number there. He's doing a number.
Yeah, that was nice.
But Kalen, it's always our pleasure, man, to bring you on for Socially Acceptable. We really appreciate you coming on and bringing all the good news for us and breaking it down so well. So appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you again, fellas, and
yes, sir.
Guys later.
All right. Absolutely, man. We'll see you next week. And this is the Brothers and Ball podcast. We'll be right back to break it down. NFL draft grades, quick draw style. Keep it locked. Welcome back. It is the Brothers and Ball podcast. That's Mike. I'm Chris. We're going to do our segment that we always wrap this thing up with, and it's called Quick Draw. 30 seconds each to react. The subject matter for Quick Draw is also the NFL draft, but we're going to be giving out draft grades. Who's a strict grader? Me or Mike? Maybe neither of us. We're going to go 3 teams each. We're going to do this how we always do it. We're going to get it going. So, Mike, You got 30 seconds. Give me a draft grade for our rival New England Patriots.
Okay, this pains me. Pains me. But
Mhm.
I'm going A minus. Okay. They loved Mack Jones from the second the process started, and they
Mhm.
didn't have to do anything but sit and wait till their pick at 15. I thought for sure they'd have to move up to get him. They didn't. Didn't cost them anything. Boom, you get him. Round 2, you get the lineman Barmore from Alabama. He's going to be a monster in that defense for sure, right? Then you go to Oklahoma, Ronnie Perkins, who is a monster. You put him with Chase Winovich from Michigan and Josh Uche. Okay, he's going to line up, and then in round 4, they took the running back from Oklahoma, Stevenson, who had a really strong season, to pair him with Sony Michel. I mean, it's going to be something. I mean, after that, it's hard to speculate these guys. But those first 4 picks, I think Belichick hit it on the head, and the fact that they didn't have to move up to get Mac Jones, boom, A minus Patriots. Chris, to you. We talked about him earlier. Chicago Bears. What do you got?
All right. So I know everyone's expecting me to say, "Oh, they did great. They got Justin Fields." It's an A. It's a C. It's right in the middle here. They're barely passing, average at best. After Justin Fields, I'm not crazy about any of these picks. Listen, they didn't have a third, fourth, or they didn't have a third or a fourth round pick. So I understand there's not much you can do at that point. But I wasn't crazy about Tevin Jenkins in the second round. He's probably going to start for them. We'll see how he does as a tackle. But I understand you're giving up capital to get Fields, but that's all you got. You're coming out with just one starter. You got to come out of the draft with 2 or 3 starters most years. So I'm not cool with it. Give him a C. Listen, I'm not an easy grader like you, but let's turn this thing around. Let's turn this thing around. Here we go. I'm sure another A is coming.
Yeah.
Mike, the New York Giants. What is their draft grade? How'd they do?
This also pained me. I don't know how I got New England and then, the Giants, the sorry-ass Giants who I can't stand. But here we go. The Giants, absolutely, they also knocked it out of the park. I think they had a better draft than the New England Patriots. I'm giving them an A. And the reason I give them an A, okay?
I want to take your class.
Number 1, when they saw the Eagles move up to 10 and take Devontae Smith, they knew they wanted a weapon. Boom, they make the trade. They get a haul so the Bears can get Justin Fields. They drop to 20. They still get Kadarius Toney, who's going to be a monster. Okay, he's gonna run around all over the field for them. Okay, then for some odd reason, Azeez Ojulari falls in round 2.
He's a beast.
I mean, I'm willing to sit here and tell you that he is more of a lock to be a superstar in this league than their first round pick. This guy, Ojulari, is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. And then with the rest of the draft, they went defense mostly to fill some needs. But to me, the fact that they got Kadarius Toney, a wide receiver weapon, they identified they wanted a wideout. They stuck with it. No problem. But Azeez Ojulari, oh boy, that's a game changer for the Giants. He's going to be a freak. He's going to be a freak. But we're going to switch. You requested this one. No one talks about this team much. But we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions. What do you give the Detroit Lions?
Detroit Lions did themselves a solid in this draft. They got B+. And I'm just like Dan Campbell in their draft room. He went nuts when they were able to get Penei Sewell. He's ready to eat kneecaps and whatever the hell else he was talking about. The Lions set themselves up great with this draft. They went in the trenches, first round offensive tackle, the best one on the board. Second and third round defensive tackles. They are meeting up the line, okay? And then fourth round pick, the best day 3 pick I saw. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best names in the draft. Playmaking wideout. They get a wideout at a luxury. They needed one, didn't have one at 7, made the adult decision instead of shitting the bed like the Lions always do. Detroit, stand up. You guys did great. Only problem is your quarterback's Jared Goff. Okay.
Love it. I love it. I love you. Mentioned it earlier. You said it earlier. They finally acted like adults. You texted me
was
on draft night and
shocked.
said, it's about time Detroit finally acts like grown adults.
I saw Sewell on the board. I'm like, there's no way they make the only logical pick right now, and they did it. So good
They
for
did
them.
it. Yeah.
You know, they're gonna do. We'll see how they do this year. But I want to spin it around to you. This is you're not your one, but your 1A favorite team. Okay, the Cowboys are in the family over there for you.
Yeah.
So you
Married
need to
into
tell
the
me
family. That's
exactly. You
about it
married
when it
into
comes to
it. You
these
got no
guys.
choice. And we
Oh,
know you
boy.
hate Dak Prescott. So let's
No,
give the Dallas
whoa.
Cowboys. Let's give the Dallas Cowboys a grade. You're giving out great grades today, so you're an
Okay.
easy A. This has got to be an A, right?
Number one, I don't hate Dak. Okay,
Oh,
that's number one. But that's a conversation for another freaking day because we'll be here all night. Okay. Okay, so let's see. They had 10, right? They
Mhm.
wanted a corner. Both corners were gone. They moved back. I love moving back. I didn't
Yeah.
love trading in division with the Eagles. Didn't like that one bit. But then you drop to 12 and take Micah Parsons. You already have two linebackers. To me, that means they're going to decline Van Der Esch,
Mhm.
his fifth-year option. So see you later, Van Der Esch. And Jalen Smith can be cut after the year for not a dime. Okay? So Micah Parsons, you take him. Maybe that's going to fill your void there. Okay, some people think he's the best defensive player in the draft. All right, fine. That's not my issue. Then at pick 44, I mean, I understand you got to pick need, but you're reaching here. Kelvin Joseph at 44, reach. Okay? Then you took lineman, edge, another corner. I mean, what I just don't understand what they're doing. You know, and to me, there's still guys on the board. As far as free agents, I know we're talking about the draft, but when I look at Dallas, Kelvin Joseph wasn't the guy. You hit on Diggs last year. You could probably take the best available player on the board at 44, and sign Sherman or sign Hayward, who got signed today, who has been over the last 5 years the number one corner in football, according to Pro Football Focus. But like I said, that's a different story for another day. Dallas, C minus. C minus. I don't like it.
Wow.
I don't like it. You traded in division and picked at a position that I don't think you necessarily need at this moment. What's wrong with taking Parsons at 10?
I guess nothing.
Okay.
I guess
Why
nothing.
move to 12 and trade in division to take Parsons when you could have got him at 10? Then the Giants at 11 take Smith, and then the Eagles are in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
here?
either way, you're helping the enemy. One team is going to get Devontae Smith, who's a possible playmaker that can take the
C
top off your
minus.
defense.
Jerry Jones
Hey,
needs to find somebody to come run that thing because this
I'm
is
just
just a
happy you gave
disaster.
out.
Disaster. C minus.
I'm happy you gave out something other than an A for once. Seriously.
Yes. Now we're going to finish with your team in mind, the New York Jets. Everyone's saying they have a good draft. I think so too. What says you?
I say it's an A minus. The New York Jets did their thing. Joe Douglas did his thing. And I want to start with the fact that day 3, my second favorite day 3 pick was the fact that you were able to get Michael Carter, running back from North Carolina. He's absolutely electric. 7 yards a carry. That's going to be their starting running back. He's going to lead the backfield. It's not going to be P. Ryan. It's not going to be Tevin Coleman. It's not going to be Ty Johnson, any of these guys. It's going to be Carter. He's going to lead the backfield. Tevin Coleman can't even stay healthy anyway. Elijah Moore is straight out of the Antonio Brown route running tree, okay? He has routes for days. His feet are incredibly quick, and he's a shifty playmaker that you got at a premium. And then trading up for Vera Tucker. I mean, I would have loved those third-round picks, but you made up for it in the 5th and 4th round by snagging some real good talent. So you didn't miss the third-round picks that it took to get Tucker, Vera Tucker, that is. And now you have Mount Becton and Vera Tucker. Oof. Highway 77 is clear. No traffic, no construction, straight highway. You are running to the left side all day.
We're going left all day long. Now,
That's
I will
right.
say, the Jets, I also like that they took 3 corners. I mean, people are going to nitpick that. But I think these guys are they're going to be special teams guys. And I think they're hoping that maybe one flashes. That's the only reason why you take 3 corners, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with that. So
Yes, sir.
we'll see. They got playmakers, they got hard hitters, they got hybrid guys that you can kind of play all over the field. So I think you underrated them at A-, but I'm not mad at it.
Listen, I'm not as easy of a grader as you are. But one last note on the Jets draft. Last year they drafted, I believe, 3 or 4, maybe even more, team captains from the college team. This year they drafted 4 team captains from their college team. Maybe it doesn't mean a lot, doesn't say what they are as a player, but high character guys. Bring in the right guys, Joe. Get the
Correct.
locker room right.
You can feel the culture switching big time, and it's exciting for the Jets. Everything hinges on that second pick, though, in the draft, and Zach Wilson. So we'll see what goes from there. But I'm excited to see what the Jets do.
Yeah, the calls that Robert Saleh was making to the players just got me so fired up. I can't
fired
wait.
up. Fired
I
up.
can't wait till someone's pulling him off the field while he's screaming at the referees and butchering, giving them hell out there. But I like the identity the team's taking on. Quick draw was not a disappointment, and it never is. So, draft grades. That's the Brothers and Ball podcast as well. We're wrapping it up here for tonight. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Any words for the people, Mike, before we send them off?
Oh yeah. Keep watching. We got big time guests coming on. At some point here coming up, we're gonna have our guy Lamont Wright. He does all of our music here for the Brothers and Ball podcast.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get him on here. We got our guy Steve Drainoff, who has worked, done a little bit of work with the Tennessee Titans. So we've got some big time guests coming. You stick with us, and we're gonna bring it to you big time.
That's right. So for Michael Douglas, I'm Christopher Douglas. That is the Brothers and Ball podcast.